Ice 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 Tidehunter there. So Newbee did actually spend a little bit of time thinking about that second band that they put out, and they did opt for the Mirana. First band, the Bat Rider, and this is one of these initial drafts where there's still a lot of scary heroes in the pool. Invoker still also available, and DK first picking the Lycan on Radiant is a little bit surprising. I actually would have thought DK would go straight for the Naga, but they don't want to hand over the Lycan on Dire side, so I guess it makes sense on that front, but perhaps just good drafting from Newbee. Maybe baiting DK into the Radiant Lycan. Still a very powerful hero, and you hear mixed things. Some teams and, well, some players have told me, Lycan Radiant, it's dumpster, forget about it. It's not really that scary. As long as you don't feed the Lycan, he's no scarier than any other hero. And you hear other people that say, no, that's stupid. Lycan is still broken regardless of side. It's not about the Roche Pit. It's about his ability to help all the lanes with Howl and side push and do all sorts of scary things. So I'm not sure exactly where he stands. All I do know is that Lycan is a damn good hero, and DK are not scared to run him on the Radiant.
Yeah, I mean, obviously not having that. Ooh,
oh, Jesus.
That's another Faceless Void.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, now you got a little bit more of catch-out potential, too, because if that Naga Siren gets a song on someone, then you can look and you can see, okay, are people out of position? Should we drop a Chronosphere here? I mean, can we get a bunch here? And if not, you can just retreat. So it gives you... Maybe after that last game with that kind of split-second Chronosphere costing the game, they're thinking to themselves, all right, maybe let's be a little bit more careful, but we still want to pick the Void because he was very strong in last game. Don't get me wrong, he did a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. He did do a lot of work.
5 seconds
but,
remaining.
I don't know, man. It's just one of those, I mean, shit happens. You make those misplays, and that's just one of those PGG style, you're never going to live it down kind of Chronospheres, but I guess Howe just maybe wants to make up for that last game a little bit. But I don't know. We'll see how it works out. You're right. They do have a little more setup here. DK, where are they going with this? Looking at the third and fourth bans, Newbee ban out the pushing heroes, the pushing supports, if you will, Enigma and Rasta. And DK will ban out the Elder Titan as well as the Venomancer. So, the Elder Titan ban. Very interesting here.
It's really frustrating to push into an Elder Titan. I mean, I believe Newbee just used it in that previous series. I think in Game 3, actually, if I saw it correctly. So they might not be one. I didn't catch the game, but I'm pretty sure I saw that in the draft on over on Dota.
Let's see.
So maybe they're just worried about
Yes,
that
you're right.
again.
Actually, Zhao 8 played him in their third game. He was 1, 2, and 13.
Yeah, so a lot of this is just a hard hero to
5
push into.
seconds
I mean, you
remaining.
don't want to deal with Earth Splitter. You don't want to deal with the sleep. And that aura is one of the most frustrating things in the game. I think no one's going to disagree on that. So if you're running something like a Lycan, you know you want to end the game quickly. Yeah, deal with those turtling heroes. Deal with those people that are just going to shut you down like that. I mean, Newbee is going to ban out a couple of good turtlers from you because they're such good pushers so that you don't have to worry about banning stuff like the Enigma, worrying about a black hole coming in.
Whoa,
That's
daddy.
going to be frustrating.
I
I haven't
like
seen that hero
this.
for a while.
Yeah, a little bit of Gyrocopter going to be coming onto the field here. They've got some pretty serious wombo. There's a lot of synergy between Naga Siren and the Gyrocopter. Song the Siren to set it up. You can land some pretty easy cooldowns. Then old no-face Fatty Fat can hop in there with the Time Walk and start chopping people down with some time locks. Pretty darn scary. I'm actually not
10
convinced that this is a
seconds
farming
remaining.
Naga at this point. Faceless Void, farming Naga, and Gyrocopter is pretty damn greedy. So one of these guys is going to be a support. And, I mean, we have seen support Gyro, so that's a possibility. A very open-ended draft from Newbee. And this is a rough final ban from DK because you don't really
10
know what they're looking
seconds
for with this fifth
remaining.
pick.
I mean,
5
does Newbee run the
seconds
offlane
remaining.
Void?
Not on Dire. The offlane Void I've only seen done on Radiant. I think on Dire it's just a little too
DK's
difficult.
turn to ban.
Then I think you got to know at the very least that it's going to be an offlaner, so you can be a little safe with those bans.
Yeah, I guess,
no one in that
that's
lineup's
true,
gonna
actually.
offlane.
I guess that's a good point. Regardless, it'll be an offlane unless they're feeling really frisky with this Void. I guess it's possible on Dire,
seconds
but
remaining.
no one's ever tried it. Roland says mid-Void. I don't know about all that
5
nonsense, but...
seconds remaining.
All right,
It could
according to
be,
Roland,
depending on the
Moo plays
matchup.
a mid-Void, and
Okay.
we'll see. If he's right, then I'll have well, he played
That's a really good
okay,
ban.
apparently he played one game. We'll see.
That's
All
a
right.
really good ban. That Darkseer.
Yep, Darkseer gets banned out. They minimize some of the wombo, but Newbee will just grab the master of the rat, Mr. Nature's Prophet.
This is looking kind of rough for DK, I feel like. Although, I mean, kind of in the mid game, you don't want. You're gonna have a lot of trouble trying to catch DK out just because of the threat of that Tidehunter Ravage. So if they're pushing, as kind of a 4-1 where they have the Lycan on one side and they have, pushing supports on the other, or even if they're just pushing as 5, it's gonna be very difficult to initiate wherever the Tidehunter is because you always have to be worried about that counter initiation. They're gonna have that Lich ultimate to put out that early game damage. Lycan Howl means they'll be hitting you really, really hard. You have to be really, really careful about your initiation if you're newbie, or you're just going to lose a bunch of heroes and then drop a bunch of towers, and that's going to be the game at 30 minutes.
Yep.
So I think DK has a lot of potential. I mean, more so than usual almost with a Lycan to end this early, just because of how much newbie has to be like.
Yeah, the
very,
problem,
very trepidatious about punishing them.
The problem here is that Newbee has the late game, though, so the pressure is on DK to make it happen. And, well, okay, now DK have a little more late game to their name. They will pick up the Outworld Devourer with their 5th pick. And, oh, what's that, Roland? How on the Faceless Void? Oh, get slapped around, son! Get slip-slapped.
You're really
That's
mean
right.
to your interns. Wow.
Moo's playing the gyrocopter. After all that
People say I flame.
Oh, man.
I don't even flame.
Isn't that what interns are for? I thought you were supposed to slap them around.
Rude.
Ooh, sorry. It was a noble effort, Roland. Well done. Oh, man. So we'll see. You never know. They may still swap around, but we'll see how it goes. So OD, the final pick for DK, that's going to be your Mushi hero, and it looks like he'll be up against the gyrocopter. You know, Chris, I'm not sure. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen a gyrocopter solo mid. He's fallen off a lot recently, but it's been a long while. Smash? Yeah, that's actually true. Smash is probably the last person I saw play gyro mid, and that was a while ago.
5 seconds.
The last time I saw a gyro mid was to deal with a TA, and an OD is a very different hero from a TA. I think this is going to be a little bit difficult because you're going to very quickly not have the mana to handle that rocket barrage at all. And that just kills your laning potential.
Oh, look, they swapped. Oh, no, Roland was right. Oh, no. Son of a gun.
Wow.
It is going to be the move Faceless Void. And there you go. Yeah, all right, I deserve it.
I can hear in the background.
I deserve
He's
it.
getting destroyed in that studio.
It's fair. Dude, he's dying over there, man. He's... God damn it, man. Now I'm all flushed and sweaty. This is so embarrassing. Oh, God. Well, let's introduce some rosters here. On the dire side, we've got Team Newbee. They are down 0-1 in this best-of-3 series. It will be Xiao Wade on the Nature's Prophet. I just got wrecked so hard. Moo going to be solo mid on the Faceless Void. In the offlane, it will be an aggro try. Banana going to be on the support Naga Siren. Support San Sheng on the Lion. And it will be the position 1 Gyrocopter here being played by Hao.
I need to reconnect for you. I'm getting like a 5-second slideshow of lag.
Chris?
30 seconds.
Oh, you're having lag issues here? You can reconnect if you need to. I'll introduce the Radiant side, though. We've got Lanham playing on the support Rubik down here in the bottom lane. We'll be burning on the Lycan in the position 1. Mushi, solo mid on the Outworld Devourer. We'll have MMY on old Lichy here, Kel'Thuzad, and Ice 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 going to be on off lane on the Tidehunter. Are you alive, Chris?
I'm reconnecting. Hopefully I get less slideshow next time. It was pretty bad, believe me.
All right. Well, good luck to you, sir. That's all I can give. Yeah, Perfect World servers, sometimes they don't play nice with these American connections. Ice 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 with plenty of regeneration. 8 tangos plus a pooled tango and a healing salve. He is ready for a rough lane here, but he'll not actually have his work cut out for him too hard. Just a solo Nature's Prophet. So he should be able to farm pretty well. Sansheng is actually rotated up top already. So this aggro try has already kind of been broken up. It's just Hao and Banana down here in the bottom. And it looks like it is breaking down into basically dual lanes here. As Lich is just hanging out in the mid, path blocking a little bit, and trying to make things easier for his Mushi OD. Are you back? Are you seeing anything?
I am back.
Slideshow?
I am back. I'm checking this out now. I'm looking at the lane layouts because I
Okay,
couldn't
sweet.
see them through the 5-second lag slideshow earlier.
Yep, gathering that data. So it will indeed be a support Naga Siren. One of the good things about that first pick Naga, you really have that flexibility. She is a damn good support as well as a damn good carry. So she will be hanging out here on the other side of the tree line. Pole camp is warded by the Dire. They even got a sentry ward down as well. MMY will rotate over, and it will be a 3v2 now in this bottom lane. So Hao and Banana will be zoned out a little bit as MMY presses forward and starts throwing those right clicks.
I think Ice 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 should have a pretty good time in this off lane, thanks to the power of the Kraken Shell and the Anchor Smash. So I'm not sure he can get zoned out basically at all by Xiao 8, but San Sheng at the same time is going to have a no-pressure way to just jungle it out, try to get some stuff on. Ice 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 can go in once in a while, but you go in too hard, and this is what's going to happen. Loses half his mana pool.
Yep.
Dangerous thing to let that Lycan just suck you dry when you're playing a Tidehunter, and you're pretty reliant on your mana. You know, as cheap as Anchor Smash is, you're going to run out if you're forced to spam it a little bit more.
Yep. Now, what I'm really curious about is this Faceless Void versus OD matchup, and it seems Mushi is smashing him so far, 9-6 against the 4-3 Void, and not a matchup you see too often, but we'll hold that thought as Hal gets initiated on in the bottom lane. Lanham with the telekinesis to start things off, but they'll click him down. That's your first blood. Lanham grabs the bonus gold on the Rubik with one last auto attack, and Hal will take a tumble to get things started.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these lanes are kind of in DK's favor right now. I mean, I expect the OD to win mid. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Moo could do something amazing, and he might know something I don't. But my general feeling here is that the OD has a pretty massive advantage. You've got the 3v2 down in bottom, so you know Newbee's already going to be at a disadvantage there, and you can get safe jungling going for MMY if you need to, and still have a pretty decent 2v2 coming out with both the Rubik and the Lycan. And then Ice Ice Ice, like I mentioned, he's going to have a pretty easy time just getting experience. He's already almost level 4 up in that top lane. So
And he has 10 CS. He's farming decently here.
yeah, he's third on the chart, man. He's behind the two mid laners. He's the same CS as Burning right now in the off lane. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it sure is. The power of the Tide Man, a good hero right now. And yeah, this is rough for Newbee. Bottom lane has definitely been won by DK. They drew the first blood. Mid lane, not super one-sided, but Moo is behind by 3 CS and is getting out-denied pretty hard here, so that is going the way of DK. And up top, it's a fairly even trade, but I think that's a win for DK. It's been a solo Ice Ice Ice, and Sansheng's just been hanging out up here. So it is essentially a 2v1, even though Sansheng is in the jungle. So DK are in a great shape to get things started. Already about a 1,500 gold lead, 750 experience. So it is already starting to pay dividends. Mushi has his boots coming out here. Does have Null Talisman, some GG branches. And does have a bottle on the courier as well that he's been crowing. How in the bottom? Yeah, he gets harassed back, but they don't turn this one into a kill. How is really falling behind here, though. Only 7 CS at 4 minutes on this position 1 gyro. This is the scariest part of this game, I think, for Newbee.
Well, I think what Newbee is going to be relying on is people to try and create space in the mid game. Use people to, like the Gyrocopter ultimate, like the Naga ultimate to try and slow down pushes. Use the fact that you have Xiao 8 to try and get some split pushing going. And
support on support action in the bottom position. MMY maybe in some trouble here. Xiao 8 TP's down. MMY will go down, but Lion gets picked off as well. Lanham probably won't survive to tell the tale. Or will he? He's on the run. Do they have an ensnare coming up? Yeah, in about 2 seconds. Mushi may rotate down. Can he get the ensnare? Now I'm starting to get the lag spikes. Nope, he'll be able to make it away. Naga without boots. Rubik with the little brown booties. That'll be enough to keep him alive. So it is a 1-for-1 trade. Support on support.
Yeah, I mean, the one good thing that Moo really has going for him in this mid lane is as much as the OD has really, really good base damage because of all these int steals he's getting off, he's not really losing anything. He doesn't need his spells to stay in the lane. He's just right-clicking all the time. So as frustrating as it is to get banished, to not get as much CS as you can, he's not going to get crippled nearly as badly as either, insert any intelligence hero here, or even someone like, if I put like a Dragon Knight or an Ember Spirit or someone in mid against an OD, the lack of mana would just destroy them because they're relying on their spells to get a lot of work done. Or a Brewmaster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas all you have on the Faceless Void is the Time Walk, and you don't need that in lane, not at all. It makes you a little more gankable, but...
Down bottom, initiation once again. MMY and Lanham have come back from their trip to the well. Burning gets stunned up in the small corridor, though, trying to make the escape out. It looks like he'll actually survive. Xiao Wei joins the party once again, but DK, they minimize their losses. Burning will have to dog it back to the well, but he will survive, and that's what's important. And just to compliment what you were just talking about, I think you're absolutely right, and the Pro-Man Shield, absolutely instrumental to Moo's sustainability in lane. Even though Mushi hits hard, having that damage block really makes a big difference and helping his sustainability. In the bottom lane, while I'm blathering on about that, Mr. Ravage from our buddy Ice3, but no kills come out. It does, however, repel the push from Newbee.
I mean, a 6-minute Ravage to stop a push, certainly not a bad thing. I mean, he's going to be up before any major engagements happen. Now, I really do like what Newbee's doing with the Nature's Prophet, because you can't afford to just have him sitting back and farming. You have to have him pressuring these other lanes, because DK's lineup is so kind of snowbally in this early game. If you don't put some pressure on that Lycan or the OD and slow one of them down, then they're just going to roll right on to victory before that 25-30 minute mark. Like we were mentioning, Newbee probably has the late game advantage, but if you let DK get away with winning all 3 lanes, with just getting a huge advantage in the early game, and don't rotate to try and slow them down and apply some pressure, that's when you're in trouble. I'm not sure I love Moo coming down here to defend.
Yeah, this is
He's
going to be a
have the
difficult
it for
hold.
Chronosphere soon, so maybe they'll be able to get something done. They know the Ravage isn't up.
Dire's structures
Still, Ice
are
has 3 points in Kraken Shell. He's just being a bully right here. He is not scared of much. Although he will get caught in the Sprout. Burning actually taking the tower shots to make sure the Tide Hunter is okay. And there you go with the Lich armor. 9 armor up on this Tide. He can just walk in the front line and completely zone out the Dire side right now. They have no way to really deal with the 3 points in the Kraken. He is also the last hit leader. Well, he was right before that little skirmish there. Now Mushi's taken over, but Ice 3 farming like a madman here. Power treads up already, and it looks like he is well on his way to a mech with that early ring of regeneration.
41 and 24 on Mushi. He's just sitting there farming up a storm.
Yeah, really
I'm
starting to pull
I'm-
ahead over the Void.
Yeah, I'm pretty frightened as to what he's gonna. You think he's gonna go early Force Staff and just let the, like you said, let the mech come out on ice, ice, ice?
Yep. Maybe a Midas pickup here from Mushi. He's farming well enough that I think he could get away with it if he does want to go for a Midas rush. And we'll see how
I don't
it
know.
works
I don't
out
think you
for
want
him.
to. I guess maybe it would help you secure a little bit of late game, and it would give you a better chance if you don't get the pushing going. But I feel like you picked up the Lycan and you went kind of for this early lineup.
Yeah.
I don't love the idea of trying to compensate for something you already know, like you didn't draft for, just through itemization. Like if you know your strength is a certain part of the game. On the one hand, yes, there's something to be said for building something that will let you not get just immediately crushed out if you don't win at that initial part of the game. But if you can get this kind of advantage, my personal style would be to go for something that lets you take better advantage of the timing window your draft already gives you, instead of trying to play for a window you didn't draft for.
Well, the thing about OD is that he really needs levels. So the Midas lets him level up a lot more quickly, and he's farming so well already that he's going to be able to get it fast enough that it'll start to pay dividends before they're at that critical point of we need to kill Rax or do some sort of have some sort of a huge lead by like 30 minutes or so. That's about the timing when this Void and Gyro it will start to kind of come online. All things equal, and OD needs to be huge. That's more than enough time for this Hand of Midas to kick in. He's like 400-ish gold away. I don't think he has Gloves of Haste on the Courier. Nope. So still a little ways to go, but we're looking at probably about a 10-minute Midas, and I think it's worth it, but it's all about the timing. If this was a 15-minute recovery Midas, I'd totally agree with you, but I think the timing is what's key here. And since Mushi is our last hit leader, I think he can get away with it. I'm not convinced, though. He could just end up going for the Force Staff and cruise around and take heed to sort of what you're talking about, but we'll see.
I think you're right about the experience thing, at the very least. I mean, getting those extra levels on the OD is absolutely huge, and I wasn't really considering that in my calculations. So, yeah.
Your calculator didn't have an experience button?
No, I mean, look, I got
Jesus,
my
dude.
TI-83 over here.
You
It's
gotta
from
upgrade
years
to that
ago
89,
when I was
yo.
in high
The
school.
The 83
Dude,
is what I used in middle school, man.
Oh,
Oh, God.
man.
MMY, I'll
I'm not
reconnect
going
here.
back
and-
to calculus just for this, okay?
Oh, God, calculus. Newbee will group up at this bottom tower, and the glyph has come out. I don't know that DK can actually make a hold here. I think this glyph will just slow him down ever so much. Naga illusions on the front side of the tower, and yep, down she goes. And Newbee will get the first tower kill of the game, and Naga will actually get the last hit. So support Naga, going to get a little bit of bonus gold there as well. And yeah, Zhao 8, he does have phase boots, and we'll probably go into a Midas next. Pretty standard stuff on All Nature's Prophet. And yep, there we go. So 2-1. Let's take a glance at the graphs here and see how things are going. Still about 1,000 gold lead for DK and about 2,000 experience. So still holding on to a pretty decent lead, though Newbee are finding a little bit of momentum with that tower kill. San Sheng in the mid. I think this OD is the biggest problem, though. Newbee are just rotating around. They're knocking down towers, but so far they've had no response to Mushi's farm. I mean, just look at the CS. All 3 of the cores from DK are topping the charts right now. But MMY walks into Moo in the jungle. Chronosphere is available. But does he want to burn it for a solo Lich? Nope, doesn't look like it. They will back out. Banana backs out as well as Lanham comes in. So, yeah, DK just farming up a storm all over the map.
Yeah, I think Moo wasn't also quite sure where Mushi was positioned right there. I think he kind of lost track of him on the ward, and so he didn't know if Mushi was kind of coming back and was just going to be able to ult him if he dropped the Chronosphere. Because that Void, at the moment, going to take a lot of damage if he gets caught by an ultimate with a couple of int steals coming out from that OD.
Yes, and that's what's really scary. You think of OD against the int hero, like a big counter to the int heroes, and oh, there's that Midas. Roland is on the money. He's 2 for 2 today. He called the Midas. I'm gonna give some credit where credit is due. I could have pretended like that was all me, but Roland's talking in my ear here. If there's one thing Roland knows, it's Asian Dota. I have to admit. Smoke
Good thing he's here then.
from Newbee. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do when he leaves. Uh-oh, Ice 3. He gets caught in the chrono up top. They'll drain his mana. Wrath of Nature flies through. Earth Spike, double call down. The Ravage flies, but Ice 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 will fall. TP's coming in, and will it be enough? Mushi, he's in the front lines, ready to fight, and the follow-up won't be there. Unfortunately, DK just a little bit too slow with the reaction.
Yeah, the Chronosphere really prevented them from getting any reaction done. By the time the Ravage got out and it was safe to try and start a TP in, I mean, it was already kind of too late to save Ice Ice Ice. You knew that the TP would take longer than the possible Ravage stun time. Although, you know, if they'd played it a little closer, if they tried to kind of get it so he finished the TP just as that Chronosphere ended, might have been able to get a huge turnaround with that ultimate. But it could have also been very risky because if Mushi gets picked off there and throws away his advantage, that costs DK pretty severely.
Yeah, and with the Hand of Midas, Mushi is not really in fighting form. Sure, he can hop up, maybe drop the hammer, throw a couple of right clicks, but he really doesn't want to commit to an extended team fight. Up in the top lane, Ice 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 taking some decent damage as Newbee are pressuring the lane pretty hard. Perhaps gearing up for a push here. Xiaowei can always TP up if they do get close to the tower. Knowing that Ravage is down, could be a good time to pressure another one of these side lanes as well. But Mushi and Mu right back at it here in the mid lane, and Mushi still just farming up a storm, letting that Midas start to kick in, and we'll see where he goes from here.
I'm a little surprised that we're not getting a little bit more pressure applied to this bottom tower by DK. I mean, I know you have Xiaowei there. You can try and kind of just teleport and get some farm up, but Burning is just being satisfied with farming the jungle a lot of the
Mushi
time.
in the mid. He gets initiated on here. Call down flies, and it's a 4v1, but enough to gangbang the OD. And they bring him down. Mu gets telekinesed back, but Newbee just winning through war of attrition right now. They're just grouping up his 4, using that numbers advantage, and now they'll pressure this tier 1 tower in the mid lane, and I don't think DK really have a great response for it.
I mean, they knew the Ravage was down. I mentioned during the drafting phase that their biggest obstacle to trying to get any punishment going on this DK lineup was the presence of that Ravage, and with it not there, there's not really a lot you're gonna do to shut down 4 people, and there's a nice double Chronosphere.
Chrono. Lanham in trouble. He'll get clicked down. Does have a wand. It keeps him alive. MMY caught inside the Sprout. He'll try and walk away. Not going to be enough, but Mushi, he drops the hammer. It tickles him. Doesn't bring anyone down. Mu on the run. Time walk up in 1 second. He'll make it back. Oh, no. Wait, what?
Perfect world servers, man.
Yeah, I'm lagging a fair bit, man. That void just like...
I'm losing projectiles all over the place. It's very hard to follow, believe me.
Okay, well, looks like the hammer was worth it.
Off.
Mushi's dropping hammers, he's throwing hammers, and he secured the kill. So, sorry, I thought the void survived, but I guess there was still a projectile flying. So, alright, well, perfect world. Not perfect when you're in America. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the laggies here. So, we'll see if it improves. If it gets worse, maybe I'll try the old reconnect, but we'll see how it goes.
2TP's going to come into mid, try to punish Burning for this aggression right here, but they just don't have the cooldowns up to do anything. It's just going to go down.
Yep, they do have a song available that they could have used, but no, they'll just let the tower fall. Burning actually does get the last hit on it. So a nice little gold boon for him. Has his Vlad's up now, that belt of strength, and well on his way to a Necronomicon.
Look at his CS, man. Look at how much he's picked up getting into that jungle, farming that bottom lane. He's now leading Mushi by a good 15 creeps. And, I mean, he's nearly doubling up the Gyrocopter, who is the highest farmer on the side of Newbee. That's pretty intense right there. You know, looking at on the net worth side of things, it's not quite as bad because you have that extra tower kill coming in oh, no, never mind. I'm wrong. I didn't actually notice that they picked up the bottom tower. When did that happen?
Not sure.
Bad caster right here. Worst caster, 2014.
Well, what are you going to do? Smoke from Newbee, 4-man rotation. Guerrilla warfare continues on here as they rotate in through the jungle. And, uh-oh, Burning, you could be in some trouble. There's a dire observer down here, and it looks like they saw him walk over to this camp. They smell out Big Woofy, and they're going hunting.
Yeah, there's no way he's getting out of this unless he's incredibly...
He's got a TP. There's a chance he's moving into the fog.
He saw how with his wolves at the very least.
Oh, Song of the Siren. Oh, no. Lycan, you are one dead cookie.
That is a very angry group of people right there.
Yeah, moment of silence. Respect for the burning lichen. Well, 4-on-1. They do secure a kill, but these ganks are very costly. This is 4 heroes just roaming around the jungle. They do get the kill on the position 1, so it does prove worth it, but it doesn't come for free. And I think kind of like at best a break even for Newbee. There's movement around the rest of the map where Mushi's farming here using that Hand of Midas. The top lane starting to get pressured a little bit, and DK holding on to a solid 3,000 gold and experience lead despite Newbee finding pickoffs here and there. OD has gone back for his 4th staff now following the Hand of Midas, so he does have a little more mobility and starting to come online a little bit. How did go back for a Hand of Midas as well, so Phase Boots, Recovery Midas, and a Ring of Aquila. So maybe Recovery Midas is a bit too strong, but did have a slightly delayed Midas, and well, I think the right call here to grab a farming tool.
I think bigger than any of that is the fact that Ice 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 has his mech coming out. That's the other thing. Not only did all that time spent rotating towards burning let Mushi finish off his 4th staff, but getting that mech on Ice 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 is just going to let them dive towers like nobody's business. With him tanking that up with Frost Armor, with the heal, with the level 3 Kraken Shell, how are they going to bring him down? I mean, if he's just walking through a tower, you have to be too effective.
Chronosphere! They'll finish off Rubik as he gets fingered in the sphere. A defensive Astral will keep their other support alive. Moo does hop back to safety. Ice Ice Ice, Ravage still available. And DK looking for an opening to re-engage here. They can still fight even without their Rubik. Xiao Wei breaks down the trees. Moo coming around the backside here. And Burning does actually pop the ultimate. It will expire now. And it looks like DK will just lose their Rubik, and that's where this team fight will peter out for now. Ice 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 trying to position himself appropriately to catch him off guard with a big Ravage. Does have a mech available.
Radiant's bottom tower
DK are still eager to fight this. Rubik will respawn. He just TPs up to the top tower. And DK ready to fight once again, now knowing that the Chronosphere is down. Looks like they will commit to this tower push, and Newbee will just back out. Moo goes back to farming. Sun Shang steals some mana, and Xiao Wei just heads bottom. He's got his level 1 Necro book, so he'll try and pressure this tier 2. And, yep, tier 1 up top will fall. Mushi already in position to defend, so DK basically trade their Rubik for a tier 1 tower. Not a bad trade at the end of the day.
I mean, it's just... Once the Chronosphere is burned, if you didn't pick off either the OD or the Tidehunter, you're in trouble.
Yep. And that would be a dead Nature's Prophet. Mushi just easily repels the push, steals all of his mana with the Astral, and a couple of those right-click pure damages, and nothing the Nature's Prophet can do. So DK come out way ahead in that trade. End up making it really a 1-for-1 if you count the kills across the map.
Yeah, speaking of OD and Tidehunter, that's a lot of pressure coming down there on the bottom lane.
Mm-hmm. Gyrocopter has found some decent recovery farm, though. He is now number 2 on net worth, which is a nice change of pace for him. Looks like he'll go straight into BKB. Ogre Club already picked up as How moves around in the jungle. So Gyro is starting to come online, and we can't forget about that kind of wombo setup that Newbee have. We haven't really seen it come into effect quite yet, but not to worry. As this game continues, I'm sure we'll see some setup with that sleep and the big call downs. Moo has also gone back for Gloves of Haste here. He could just be going straight into a Maelstrom, but could also be looking for a slightly delayed Hand of Midas as well to really push Newbee into the late game. Mushi.
That would be really greedy.
It would be very greedy, but I don't know. We'll see. Oh, Mushi, there is a Chronosphere available. He drops it. Mushi caught inside. Riptide comes out, and Mushi, maybe he goes over the tree line. Whoa, what a force staff. Support coming in from the tier 2 tower. Mech from Ice 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 will top him off, and now they are hungry for vengeance. Moo gets pinged out, but no gap closer on Ice 3, except the Gush. Time Walk is available. Ravage as well, but nope, now doesn't have the mana for it. And the Void will get away. So, more importantly, Mushi survives the attack, and now picks up his first Ultimate Orb.
I mean, that's just another case of time spent rotating for Newbee, costing them a little bit right there. And especially because they're rotating with the Void. I mean, I get that he was their mid, I get that he's not there specifically to be that hard carry. How is playing that role with his Midas Gyrocopter. But you still want your Void to be pretty decently farmed. You want him to be able to make things happen in the mid to late game. And if things do go late and suddenly your Void has been rotating all game, then you're in kind of an iffy spot as far as that little farm goes. Yeah. I don't actually think that's going to happen. I'm just saying, if you keep rotating your Void like that, he's going to be behind where he should be. Yeah. And you can't really afford that when DK is going to be pressuring you this hard.
Yep. And DK, you're right. They're keeping the pressure up. Ice 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 and Lana are actually pretty far up here in the top lane. Newbee do have 4 in the jungle, 1 in the base on his way, and they will start to rotate over. and perhaps try and punish their aggressive posturing here. Ice 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 still without a Blink Dagger and just on Power Tread, so he's not moving particularly fast and doesn't really have a great escape mechanism other than the 4 points in Kraken Shell that help beef him up a bit. And yeah, Xiao H is farming down bottom. He actually didn't go back for Midas. It's just a level 2 Necro Book to go with the Phase Boots here. So he did not go for the Farm Accelerator, which means Nature's Prophet won't be skyrocketing out of control like they often do when left unchecked, pushing side lanes. And it will be a hand of Midas for the Void. So Mu going for the second Midas on the side of Newbee. And yeah, Mushi, just the lone Midas carrier, still holding top of the net worth on the Radiant side. So I think pretty soon here, maybe within the next 5-10 minutes, DK really need to start turning up the aggression and take some good team fights before the big farming tools of Newbee start to kick in.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting a certain level of split pushing down. They're getting things kind of done in that top lane, applying pressure with Ice Ice Ice. But Burning, I feel like, needs to be... He's got his level 2 Necro Book. I get that he was trying to wait for that. He almost has his level 3. That's got to be the cue for them to go in a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, unless you get something like that going, those Midases are just going to crush you in the late game. We already talked about the hero lineup being stronger. Now you have double Midas sitting there. They're just going to take up so much gold. And Nature's Prophet, even without a Midas, his just passive ability to farm the map is pretty darn devastating in terms of how much gold he's going to roll in.
Oh, yeah. And he's doing pretty well in net worth. He's middle of the pack right now. He's about on point with the Void. So he's farming okay, but... not going too crazy. We'll see a little bit of warding action here. Newbee throw down a couple of sentries, and they do get an observer that the Rubik could put down. Ice 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 in the tree line here. Playing with fire, constantly in an aggressive position, but he'll be okay for now as Hal pokes his way into the lane. There's your level 3 Necronomicon up on the Nature's Prophet, and also your BKB up on the Gyrocopter. So they've got some pretty decent items here. Ice 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 will TP out, and this homing missile going to follow him into oblivion here.
It's meant for him.
This is the hero
They can
homing
never be
missile.
separated. Only in the fires of Mount Doom can
It just
it be unmade.
tickles. Oh boy, that tanky tide. Well, Burning has his level 3 Necronomicon out. Yep, Archie blows. And Big Wolfie ready to start doing some pushing.
They see Sansheng, they have the wolf scouting him out, and there's no sentry there, so he has no idea he's been
Radiant's
spotted.
top tower is under attack.
Those mobile boards.
It's a bait.
Mu hops forward. Chronosphere comes out. Still with that delay. Finger of Death. Mu takes a lot of damage. And the ice, the Chain Frost, that's what's flying around. Sansheng now slowed up. This will be an easy 2-0. Lycan as well as the Faceless Void taken out. My apologies for the server lag here, folks, but I know this might come as a shock, but I'm not casting from China, so only so much we can do. The cable's under the sea. Looks like there's some fish nibbling on the cables. But either
Why
way,
aren't you casting from China? Come on now.
I don't know. I've got to step up my game here. But easy 2-0 for DK. And Ice 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 will actually get a deny on the top tier 1 tower as well.
Radiant's top tower has
I'm
been
really surprised.
denied.
I mean, they had the Necro 3 out. They had Burning right there. I'm surprised they didn't try to take that bottom tier 2. I would have thought that would be the immediate response when you see that there's no Chronosphere. And I mean, I guess they still have the Naga Sleep. They can still have the split push coming in from Xiao 8. So the safer thing is probably to back off, but I just... As much as I'm usually an advocate of safe play, I would like DK to be a little bit more aggressive about their tower pushing still. And I think I'm probably going to say that a couple more times before this game is done.
Yeah, well, Banana does pick up a gem on the Naga Siren, one of the better gem carriers in the game, as of course the True Sight does propagate to illusions. We'll hold that thought as MMY gets initiated on down bottom. Sprout comes out, and he'll just get chopped down. Tries to TP home, but that ain't happening. Mu gets another one up on the scoreboard. That will tie it up in hero kills, 6 apiece. But DK still finding some better farm around the map, holding on to a pretty solid 4,000 gold and experience lead. OD still top in the net worth charts, but not by much. Hal was actually nipping at his heels, trailing by only about 500 gold or so. Mushi, however, does have a Scythe device complete, and there's your Blink Dagger on Ice Ice Ice. 2 huge items that we didn't see in the last team fight.
Blink
There's
Dagger
also
on
a Blink
Rubik
on Rubik.
too. Wow.
Yeah, that's huge.
Invisibility.
Yeah, that... Oh, God. Because there's some good steals you can get off of Newbee. I mean, Gyrocopter, obviously, if you can get the Gyro Ultimate, if you can get pretty much any of Lion's spells except for Mana Drain, they're particularly good. Obviously, you don't really love the Chronosphere unless you're, like, incredibly godly with it. But even then, you're giving the Faceless Void that move speed buff, so you don't really want to mess with that. Like, any of Naga's spells, really, except maybe the Riptide, are particularly good. especially the ensnare to deal with that BKB gyro. There's so many beautiful things he can get his hands on in the middle of these team fights.
Yep. Oh, Moo down in the bottom lane. Gets telekinesed by Lanham. Ice 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 comes forward. Throws out the gush. But Moo, he pops a chrono. TP's out. Oh, look. There's the chrono. As soon as we have a moment where it looks like team fights aren't going to come about here, I'm going to see if I can reconnect, I think. DK moving into the Roche pit. Necro units are out. And this should be a fairly easy Roche. They know Chronosphere is down, but uh-oh, Song of the Siren. How will set up the call down. Oh, no. How? He gets telekinesis. Now he might get caught with his pants down. Chain Frost flies. He pops his BKB, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. He's just getting chopped down. It's a bloody slideshow, folks. How does get finished off as Ice 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 gives him the anchor. And now maybe they can go back into Roche. Chrono down. Song of the Siren down. They still have their Ravage. I see no reason why they can't just finish off this big tubby creep here.
Oh yeah, it's completely free. I mean, that Naga, I get that she wanted to try and set up a team fight right there, and she wasn't just going for like a steal or something with that Song of the Siren. I just think it was a really risky proposition when you knew you didn't have that Chronosphere available to try and set up some kind of fight there. When Ravage sitting on the sidelines, the Hammer's sitting on the sidelines, you know that there's a Scythe of Ice ready. It was very, very iffy. But you know, he took a risk. It didn't pay off. Sometimes in Dota, you got to take some big risks when you feel like you're behind.
Yep, and now Tier 2 tower in the mid will fall, so Newbee slowly but surely losing map control here. And DK will back out, still with a lot of big ultimates available, the Blink Ravage, namely. Chain Frost is on cooldown, but that's all right for now. Still waiting for a time when it looks like both sides are going to go back to farming. I don't want to miss a big team fight here that could potentially seal the game because I'm busy reconnecting. And sometimes with the Perfect World servers, the reconnect takes a try or two, so I'm a little bit nervous just to drop out of this game. Sansheng, he'll get caught, and he will fall. Now the rest of Newbee starting to walk forward, but it's a 5v4. They still have the Ravage. Burning does have his ultimate back up as well, and DK are in fighting shape. Newbee making the right choice to back off here, I think.
Yeah, down the line, down a lot of your disabling power and pretty much all of your instant burst damage. I don't think they have any other choice.
Yep.
And those Necro minions are still up there. DK just going to rotate top, try and take this tower. Mushi's been pushing it up for a while, so now they're going to be 5 again. Even once this Lion comes back up, it is still a dangerous proposition for Newbee to go in without that Naga ultimate. 50 seconds to try to reset that fight if it starts to go badly.
Yep. And DK, I like what they're doing here. They spent a lot of time farming, they got their core items up, and now that they have the Aegis, they're just going hard. They're not giving Newbee any room to farm, not letting this Gyro farm his next item, and they're just knocking down towers left and right. Top tier 2 tower will be under heavy pressure, waiting for the creeps to come in to get rid of that backdoor protection, but no glyph available, and this tower will fall. Newbee are in a very aggressive position right now, just scattered about the Radiant jungle. Xiao 8 pressuring the bottom lane, but I think DK are going high ground here. They're not backing off. And they'll at least press forward and force some TPs from Newbee. Ice 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 still ready and waiting with the Ravage. Only level 15, so not a level 3 ultimate available yet. But still ready to drop the hammer. They do lose their bottom tier 2 tower as Xiao 8 is pushing. But he does TP back, leaves the Necro units in the trees, and we'll start chipping at the tier 3. With that, DK will back out. They got what they came for, force Newbee back into their base, and will clear out their jungle as they retreat.
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, I don't know. I would have liked them to try and do a little bit more sieging down there, but I get that they had a lot of units pushing their bottom. They felt like they needed Burning to back off, which means he wouldn't be able to get the next Necro. So you think Burning goes for a BKB next? I mean, there's a lot of really good anti-BKB. I know I made the comment in the previous game, you always need to worry about what the BKB saves you from as well, and I think in this game, that's a lot of really valuable stuff. But at the same time, your primary problem on a Lycan is getting kited, and the BKB isn't going to stop that from happening because you have the ensnare available from the Naga. So I'm not sure that in this game, as much as I generally advocate, you know, being concerned about the regular disables as well as the anti-BKB, I'm not sure it would do all that much for him.
Yeah.
Because he'd still get ensnared and lose like 3 to 5 seconds out of his shapeshift.
I think he'll probably still go for it. There's enough, like with the Hex, if Lion eventually gets a Blink Dagger, that initiation is really rough. So I think the BKB is still sort of a necessity here, but yeah, you make a good point. Even the Chronosphere, I think it's still worthy. It can be a little bit scary against the Naga Siren. You can pop the ultimate if the Lycan BKBs prematurely and isolate him, and it becomes kind of a 5v1 while the rest of his teammates are asleep, so it is something else to keep in mind. But We'll see. If they really want to go all in with the push, they could grab something like a Desolator on him if he just wants to hit hard and be able to truck
You
through
could
these
almost afford an
structures.
AC too.
Yeah, they could
which would
also
be
just
pretty
go
big.
straight into AC. So those are kind of the two big options, but if I had to guess, I would put my money on the BKB. Looks like Ice 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 is working towards a refresher, has the Perseverance up already with another 1,500 gold to go. And what's all Mushi working on? Nothing quite yet. 2,700 gold, but still hanging on to that Aegis for now. Tier 2 tower in the bottom lane falls, and that is the end of the outer towers for Newbee. So for DK, the only thing that's left are Roche and the high ground in terms of map objectives.
4-step pick up on Lanham, so he has all the mobility he could ever ask for on this Rubik, and that's, I mean, it's a little frightening. You know, he's got the disable, he can get himself around, he can make sure he can be wherever he needs, way out of range to get caught by any possible spell Newbee could throw, and then just blink in and grab it, force in and grab it. But, I mean, there's not a lot of stuff you'd be looking to dodge, but there's enough stuff where you want to manage to sneak across the battlefield and get a very, very quick steal on things. That should be a little worrisome, I feel like, and Lanham is a good Rubik player. And be able to pick up a whole lot of good stuff. I mean, I'm just waiting for him to get his hands on that Finger of Death, quite
It's also
frankly.
great to disengage. You can blink in, spell steal something, and then force staff back to safety. And I think that's sort of like the way Centaur uses a force staff. You blink in to initiate, then you have that exit tool, whereas if you don't have it, you're pretty much isolated out in your aggressive position. So I like the choice quite a bit as well. Gyrocopter appears to be going for a Butterfly here, has himself an Eagle Song. Could be an E-Blade if they wanted to be crazy, but the Butterfly, the obvious choice here on the position 1 Gyro. And, well, it looks like Lycan will answer our hails here and prove us wrong. It is a heart of Tarrasque, so just go in tank mode here. Burning will up that HP pool to just about 3,000.
I like it, honestly. I mean, there's a lot of good burst damage coming out from Newbee. You have the Rocket Barrage, you have the Call Down, you have the Finger of Death, obviously, as well as whatever, you know, gets you locked down during that Chronosphere if you do kind of get netted out and stuck and get people beating on you. The BKB won't save you from all of that, and the Heart, I mean, you're already pretty tanky. You have the Vlads for some armor, so you got 12 armor. And then you're in pretty good shape, and you're very, very tough to bring down, and they know they have to focus you because you're just ripping them apart as far as towers go.
Yeah. Well, OD has also picked up a Shiva's Guard now as well. So DK getting all these core items they need to be in fighting form for this next big skirmish. Tied just an Arc... what the hell is it called? The Oblivion Staff away. I don't know why Arcana came to mind. Oblivion Staff away from getting his refresher. So once they have all those core items, they should be able to take a team fight pretty darn well. Though Void has picked up a BKB. There's your Butterfly on the Gyro. I don't know. They don't have anything to really deal with this Butterfly too easily except the Hex. So it looks like the Scythe of Ice will pretty much have to be saved for Hal. And hopefully they can catch him before his BKB. But if he BKBs and they can't Hex him, they got nothing to deal with that 35% evasion.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a frightening thing they have going on, but at the same time, if you hold your summons until he's burned his flat cannon, and then you just go in when he doesn't really have all of that AoE ready to go, you don't actually need to kill the Gyrocopter, you just need to knock down the buildings. Kills don't matter as much as the throne does, and, you know, that's what DK's lineup is built for, is knocking down the damn towers. Looks like Mushi is gonna eat that missile. They probably could have killed that if they cut it out a little bit more, but he decided he didn't care. Level 1 missile. Oh, no, excuse me, level 2 missile. Not that frightening.
And Xiaowei down bottom, just hiding in the trees, looking to pressure this bottom lane. Mu is actually going to start chipping at this tier 2 tower as well. Mushi will TP back. He'll keep the tower safe and start racking up some last hits here as well. Just clearing up all these little treants. They're going to drop their M&Ms all over the floor. And Mushi will find a little bit of additional farm. Second Roche. Oh, daddy, that is one long Roche respawn. Or... is that just telling... oh, no, that's just telling us that's the RNG. I still can't read this Roche time read. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me.
There we go.
It's going to be a
That's
middle of the road.
about a minute and
Roche
20,
respawn.
minute 30, yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah, I saw the red and at first I was like, wow, that's the longest possible Roche time. How unlucky for DK, but that was the timer showing us that... what's confusing about this clock is it's a 12-point clock, but it's only maximum of 11. So there's that little chunk at the end that is just completely wasted. The dial never goes there. It's an odd clock. I'm not the... I'm with
Remember,
you, man.
Zyori, remember, when you're designing something for people who are watching a video game, you have to make sure it makes sense, not to the people who play the video game, but to everyone else who doesn't actually care about video games. So you have to make it look like a clock.
The 12 clock, yeah. I didn't have a problem with the last clock. I was just starting to get
people
the hang of
people
it.
thought it was hard to read. I honestly never had a problem with it. But you know what? If more people think this one is easier to read, I will suck it up and deal with it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. End of the day, I'm a big fan of digital clocks, to be perfectly frank.
That's what the bottom right is for. Respawns in 25 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. I got my digital clock pop up just in time. So it's looking like the Tide could actually have his double Ravage available for this next Roche respawn. He's a couple of creep kills away from that Robe of the Magi, and then that Courier will be flying over the Refresher Orb. So DK will certainly be able to put up a fight in the pit if that's what it comes down to. Both sides do have a gem right now, the Lich as well as the Naga, both with some detection. Looks like Naga is going to go back for a mech, and what's Moo working on? Ah, straight into the Crystallis after the BKB. So Void's starting to come online a little bit here. And there's your Refresher out on the Tide. Smoke from Newbee. They'll move into the Radiant jungle. And they take the high ground. Oh, no. Burning. He's going to walk right into it. It's the danger zone. He pops his ultimate. He gets turned into a fish. He's running away. Does get stunned up. And Chronosphere flies out. Burning. He will fall.
That should be a free. Does he have a buyback? Even if he has a buyback, he can't get back in time, really.
Well, they do have the tier 2 standing in the mid.
is-
He could get back in time to contest the Roche, but Newbee aren't even going for it quite yet.
Yeah, I guess he'll have the shapeshift ready since it's level 3. He wouldn't have his Necro book though, which is actually a pretty big
Oh,
deal.
how in the mid lane. He gets ravaged, he gets chain frosted, and he will fall. There's your buyback from the Lycan. And now it looks like DK will try to move into the pit. Newbee just starting to chip at Roche, but they will be repelled instantly. Rubik 4 steps forward, looking for Xiao Wade. Can they interrupt him? Nope. He will TP towards the bottom lane, and he will survive. Gyrocopter will also buy back. So both sides burn to buyback for this, but they know that Xiao Wade is TP'd out, so it will be a 5v4 around the Roche pit, at least for the next 20 seconds. And DK will take this opportunity to move straight in. They need to be a little careful, though. Chrono's on cooldown, but Song of the Siren is not. Roche getting chunked down pretty quickly. DK not overcommitting to the pit. They have Burning in the front lines. The rest of them will back out, trying to bait out perhaps a Song of the Siren, and they will do it. MMY and Burning caught inside. The rest of DK posturing around the high ground. Hao will get Hex to start things off. They'll just hop forward. The hammer gets dropped. The second Ravage flies. Gyrocopter falls. So does the Naga. Now Moo in big trouble. Pops his BKB. He's on the run. They'll completely repel him from the pit. Meanwhile, around the backside, they find the Lion. It's a 3-0. DK take the fight in storming force. They move right into the Roche pit. And Xiao Wei doesn't even do too much damage to the base. Takes a tier 3 tower to half health. Uncontested Roche following that fight. And Mushi once again grabs the Aegis.
And what a beautiful, beautiful bait by DK. That positioning, and you can see they were watching the edge of that song so effectively. Mushi was playing at the very, very edge of it the entire time, backed off as the Naga was advancing. As soon as they realized, because you saw Newbee when they realized it was just Burning in the pit, and that was all they caught, they were like, oh, crap. You saw them immediately try to back off, disengage, but the song was running out. Mushi came in. You had that beautiful Blink second Ravage coming in from Ice, Ice, Ice. There's just, there's no way to overstate how beautifully played that was from both Mushi and Ice Ice Ice, because without those two guys being caught outside of the song and playing it just so close to the limits like they did, that fight just wouldn't have gone that well for DK. If either of them had gotten caught,
Yeah.
it would have been very, very awkward to try to re-engage.
Yep, it was truly great positioning. Now, Burning will press up towards the high ground here. He is not the Aegis carrier, so it does need to be a little bit cautious. They force out the Glyph. Level 3 Necro Book doing some serious work right here with the Hal. Tier 3 tower going to get cut through like butter to a warm knife. Down in the bottom lane, Xiao Wei gets initiated upon. He will get telekinesis, and it looks like he will fall here in the off lane. Tier 3 tower in the mid goes down. Mushi is the one to grab the last hit. And now DK will just make the retreat. Wrath of Nature stolen by the Rubik. That's actually a pretty big one. You don't see that stolen too
That's
often.
huge. Well, it's huge. I mean, in most games, okay, Wrath of Nature, yeah, it's a really cool steal. It's a good ultimate. But in this particular game, where the primary thing Newbee has going for them right now is split push, having a Wrath of Nature to slow that down is a really big deal for DK to have available. Although the immediate buyback, he's chunks down the bottom tower now. He's going for the Raxes. Those Necrobook minions are back out. And Lanham's forced to TP back again. They just can't get away from the threat of this Nature's Prophet. Xiao 8 playing this beautifully.
Yeah, but the buyback a little risky here. Of course, it'll be on cooldown for quite some while, and DK will keep pressuring the base with the tier 3 down and no Glyph. They're ready to fight. 25 seconds till the chrono comes up, 30 until the song. So their window of opportunity here is quickly closing. If DK want to commit to this, I think they have to do it sooner rather than later. But Burning may get initiated upon here. He is left behind. Do they have anything to catch him out with? Nope, doesn't look like it, but now Mushi comes back in. They initiate onto Hal, they force out the BKB. Instant disengage, now MMY, he gets caught. Moo hops forward, Chrono coming up in about 1 second, the defensive Astral. Burning around the other side. And they will just finger the Lich straight up. He'll fall. Chronosphere comes out, burning the one caught inside alongside Mushi. And they should be able to bring him down. Hao just chipping away the defensive Astral from Mushi. It keeps him alive. Now they'll start right-clicking down Mu. He drops the hammer and finishes off Lion and Gyro. Song of the Siren from Banana comes out just a little bit too late. Burning still alive. Ice 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 with a Ravage ready to go and has the refresher. The double Ravage is online. And this is where things get scary. Xiao Wei pressuring the bottom lane, but they push the lane out so far he won't be close to the barracks. DK should have plenty of time to take out this mid lane of Rax and then TP back home to defend their top. Great plays from DK. Mushi in particular, the defensive Astral, completely turning things around.
They can chunk down a lot of buildings before they're done here, too. Without the Gyrocopter up, without the Chronosphere up. And Ice Ice has a Ravage. He has a double Ravage ready to go. They didn't use it in that last fight. How can Newbee engage onto this? They don't have any other big team fight ultimates. This is going to be a bottom Rax, too.
Yeah, this is almost close to GG. DK doing crippling damage here. Tier 3 tower down. Xiao Wei pressuring the bottom lane of Rax. Might be able to take down the range as he is nuking it. Ice 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 will come back. And I thought he might even consider burning a Ravage here, but no, we'll just anchor smash him down. Keeps the range Rax alive. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Mushi going hard onto Xiao Wei. They'll be able to finish him off. Burning, doing some damage as well. Songsheng pops the Ghost Scepter. He'll be okay for now. And there's your GG. Well played. Newbee will tap out, and DK, they take this second best of 3, 2-0 after going down 2-1 in the first BO3 tonight. Wow, what a series, but DK looking good.
That was fantastic. We got a beautiful set of games right there. The first one teetering on a knife edge for pretty much the entire game. And this one, honestly, Newbee basically at any